So, Mom, what's our plan?
What are you doing up there?
Looking through people's luggage.
I'm the mascot of an evil corporation.
Get down from there.
There's something sinister going on with Disney. The biggest movie studio in the world now has their own streaming service, which means they have a direct stream into your brains and all of your friends' brains. They are slowly accomplishing their goal of eliminating creativity from the industry. I was very critical of Disney in my last video, and I'm going to be even more critical of them in this video, so strap in. So the deal with Fox finally went through this year, and immediately they did the thing that everyone wanted them to not do. They announced that they were disbanding Fox 2000. Sure, the output of Fox 2000 doesn't stack up to the output of Fox Searchlight in terms of critical reviews, but if they cancel one branch of their newly acquired Fox labels, what's to stop them from canceling more? It's too early to speculate, but even if they never end up canceling Fox Searchlight, how long before Disney decides to start meddling with the output of the studio? Eventually, we're gonna end up with another homogenized, sanitized studio just like the rest of Disney's subsidiaries. So not only is the future of movies at risk, but movie history is at risk as well. Disney acquired Fox's entire back catalog of films and immediately started withholding them from exhibitors in the US who rely on screening older films. This is really hurting the business of small, independently owned theaters and the smaller theater chains who screen lots of old movies, and it makes up a big part of their business. Not only that, but it also is affecting consumers. Of course, these titles are all available still on DVD from various places, but only a handful of these Fox films have made their way onto the Disney Plus site so far. Home Alone, Avatar, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But Fox has hundreds of films in their catalog that we're not likely to see on Disney Plus for a little while. And when we do see them, it's not guaranteed that we'll see them the way that they're meant to be seen. Lots of people have already touched on the Simpsons' early seasons being presented in the wrong aspect ratio, which actually changes the episodes themselves by cutting out some of the visual gags. But that's not so much intentional censorship as it is just a lazy oversight or some kind of hard-to-reverse mistake. What is intentional censorship is the omission of an episode featuring Michael Jackson as a voice actor. Now, I'm less inclined to be critical of this decision since it was reportedly decided by Simpsons executive producer James Brooks himself, but it's not the only thing on Disney Plus that resembles whitewashing the past. Rumors swirled earlier this year about Disney removing the crow scene from the streaming version of Dumbo, and while that turned out not to be true, everyone believed it because that just seems like the kind of thing that Disney would do. Disney has a complicated past with racial depictions in some of their older films, and it's something they've been actively trying to steer away from for years. There's a reason we will never see an official release of Song of the South, and you know what? I'm okay with that one, actually. It's kind of disturbing how many people actually want to watch that film in some official capacity. A film whose entire reputation is predicated on the fact that it is so offensive that Disney will not release it. I mean, it doesn't exactly have a reputation of being some kind of amazing need-to-see film, so I think it's better to just leave that one behind. Anyway, so maybe it doesn't look like censorship is going to be such an issue on Disney Plus, except hold on a minute. What's this tweet from Alex Hirsch, creator of the greatest animated show of all time, Gravity Falls? Apparently, someone at Disney decided to go in and manually erase a symbol from the hat of one of the main characters of the show, Grunkle Stan. Regardless of their reason for removing the symbol, which supposedly has to do with some kind of overseas audience thing, which is a discussion for another day, I'm gonna argue that it is unethical to erase something from a piece of media for any reason without making it known to the audience that it was changed. I watched Gravity Falls back when it aired, and I loved it along with millions of others. Many fans of the show were intimate with the details, including the symbol on Grunkle Stan's hat, which was retconned in later episodes. Surely they'd notice the erasure of the symbol. But imagine being a kid when you first watched Gravity Falls, and then you grow up a little and you decide to revisit the show on Disney Plus, except there's some small details changed that you don't exactly remember, but something seems kind of off about the show, like things are different now. You can't quite place it, but you're assured that it's the same show you watched as a kid. There's no indicators anywhere that the show was altered in the years since you watched it. I think that crosses a line. That is the corporate equivalent of gaslighting, and it opens the door to even more significant changes down the road in other shows, and movies too. Obviously, a meaningless symbol on a hat doesn't matter much to our enjoyment of Gravity Falls, but let's say Disney had decided to remove the crow scene from Dumbo, or remove certain words and phrases from those casually misogynist and homophobic 80s movies. Let's also say they didn't say a word about it, and some of them slipped by without people noticing. Does anyone think that that's okay? It's one thing to criticize and acknowledge problematic aspects of older films, and it's even fine, in my opinion, to keep them locked away where nobody can see them if modern audiences wouldn't be receptive to them today. But erasing the problematic aspects and pretending that they never happened is just something I cannot get behind. So the Department of Justice has announced the possibility of repealing the Paramount Consent Decrees, which would allow movie studios to own and operate their own movie theaters going forward. This comes from the Assistant Attorney General for the Antitrust Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. God, that's a mouthful. Makan Delrahim. Delrahim himself has stated that he does not believe a monopoly to be illegal if they do not, quote, abuse its monopoly power. While I can't speculate whether Disney or any other movie studio has influenced Delrahim, it's definitely in their favor if he goes forward with this. So assuming in the next few years that Disney starts to operate their own theaters or buys currently existing chains, I'm starting to see a vision of a future that doesn't look right to me. I present the Disney dystopia. The future that Disney wants. With a profit margin that nearly matches the total revenue of the next biggest studio, Disney has the capital to capitalize on this opportunity faster than any other company. Disney already bullies around the movie theaters to do what they want with their movies, and it's threatening the business of some of the smaller theaters. But now imagine that Disney has 100% control. A mini Disney World inside every theater, a Kylo Ren at every midnight screening of Star Wars, and exclusive branded popcorn buckets for $20 each. Those families that go on Disney vacation cruises every year will be camped outside the theater to see their favorite movie on opening day, probably multiple times, probably at the cost of $25 per ticket, if not more, because Disney will absolutely start raising ticket prices once they have their own theater. There's no reason not to. Every film that gets released into a Disney theater will be the most safe corporate product imaginable, and before long, Disney will buy another rival movie studio, not only eliminating competition, but silencing thousands of creative voices. Their 36% share of the market will jump to 50%. Disney wants to control the entire industry, removing any problematic and dissident voices from the marketplace of ideas. They want to put the smaller theater chains out of business. They want every movie that has ever existed to be in their catalog, so they can control who sees it, when they see it, and what parts have been edited out. Disney wants to be Big Brother, controlling the past, the present, and the future. And much as Orwell predicted, Disney's takeover will not be hostile. It will be welcomed with open arms by all the die-hard Disney fanatics. People will let Disney control aspects of their lives until we live in an inescapable dystopian nightmare, devoid of creativity and originality. Anyway, sorry that this video wasn't quite as funny as the last one, but this stuff has been on my mind a lot lately, and as with all things that I dwell on for too long, I decided to make a cartoon about it. So that's what I'm working on. It takes place in the dystopic future that I just described, when the entire industry has been brought under the umbrella of a single corporation. It focuses on 4 indie filmmakers who act as rebels against the corporate empire. I've been writing for about 5 months now. I have 6 episodes written already, and I'm gonna be honest, I think it's pretty good. I think it's funny. I think it's got good characters. It's currently untitled, but we've just started pre-production, and so here's a preview of some of the concept art that we've done. Now, it's going to be a long time before the cartoon is ready to watch in any official capacity, but if you're interested in seeing behind-the-scenes stuff and sneak previews from time to time, then consider joining our Patreon, where we'll be posting all kinds of that stuff and more, including stuff from my other cartoon, Vitality, the first episode of which you can watch right here, and episode 2 is due sometime next year.